Our oceans run much deeper and are a much larger mystery to us than previously thought. In fact, it's believed that there is a planetary water cycle, where water and other life-giving minerals seep up through the crust from these vast underground chambers. Around these areas that receive water directly from the earth, life is more abundant than most other ecosystems. And this water, due to being filtered by the bedrock and sediment, is some of the freshest on earth. We call these areas springs, and they bring up millions, if not billions, of gallons of water every day from deep in the earth. This must also mean that an equivocal amount of water is flowing from our oceans into these reservoirs, or subterranean oceans, that lay within the Earth's crust, acting as a giant wetland filter for our planet, and possibly creating passageways between the ocean above and the vast unexplored oceans beneath. Near these areas, many fossils have been found, and we've even rediscovered species that were thought to have long gone extinct millions of years ago. The coelacanth being the most well known, but also the megamouth shark, goblin shark, frilled shark, and numbfish were all thought to have gone extinct only to be rediscovered. Our oceans are so vast, there's really no telling what exists, especially in super deep and even subterranean areas. New species are being discovered every year, including giants. The giant squid, for instance, was only confirmed to be real in 2004, and since then even larger specimens have been found. There's really no telling what exists within certain pockets of our ocean. Cephalopod creatures are a good example of something that could both survive deep waters and high pressures, but also grow to enormous proportions, like we see with the giant and colossal squid variants. But there could be others as well. We know that terrifying giant sea monster-like creatures existed in our oceans at one point. Creatures like the megalodon, the plesiosaur, chronosaurus, as well as other giant variations of modern species like whales, other sharks, sea turtles, and giant crustaceans. But these are thought to have gone extinct with the other dinosaurs millions of years ago. However, the current explanations of why aquatic dinosaurs went extinct does not fully make sense. One theory says that there was a terrible meteor impact that made the air unbreathable to all creatures taller than ground level, explaining why small mammals didn't die off. But the sea dinosaurs, including the ones who breathed air, would not have suffered like their land-dwelling cousins. They could have still breathed the air like the small mammals. Or how about the theory of how dinosaurs evolved into birds? An interesting theory, no doubt, but what did the aquatic dinosaurs evolve into? Smaller, modern versions of themselves for some, but that still doesn't explain what happened to the plesiosaur, or other dinosaurs like it. And this is a dinosaur, despite its fragile composition, we find perfectly intact and preserved in rock at several sites that were previously seas across the world, such as in Montana and Australia. This leads me to believe their numbers dwindled due to changes in geology or climate. But a change in climate and changes in Earth's sea levels would not wipe them out completely. This included deep sea creatures as well. It's more likely they would have retreated to an area where they were safe, where they exist in small numbers, possibly even to this day. We of course have stories throughout history we could point to of sightings of creatures thought to be long gone, such as the Kraken in Norse mythology, the Mishipishu among Native Americans, and many aquatic dragon myths around the world. But in modern times we also find these stories, some behind dark veils of classified government projects and research, and among remote native tribes who still live close to the land. The popular internet story of organism 46b is one that comes to mind. You may have heard of it before. Basically, the story goes that Russian researchers were drilling into Lake Vostok under the ice caps in Antarctica. And after years of drilling miles down, they reached a giant lake, where reports of a massive octopus-like creature was terrorizing them and impeding their research, leading to the termination of the project. We don't know for sure if this story is real, but there are others like it. Some come from research in deep ocean pockets such as the Mariana Trench. Others from oil rigs where men submerge themselves for months at a time, and even some from massive lakes that reach deep into the earth and are said by natives to house creatures not seen for hundreds, if not thousands of years, most notably in Lake Superior and Lake Baikal, the two largest lakes on Earth. That being said, the Antarctic is definitely a place of massive interest when it comes to these sorts of discoveries. There's no telling what is underneath the ice in both fossil form and possibly still alive. Many creatures on Earth actually have the ability to go dormant for a time. Frogs, insects, turtles, even mammals hibernate for long periods of time. Could it be possible that there are creatures lying dormant in areas such as these, or in deep pockets of undiscovered ocean? Generally speaking, the larger the creature, the slower and longer its bodily functions. Blue whales are a good example of this. They have a heartbeat of 5 to 10 beats per minute and live well over 100 years. In fact, there are many deep-sea creatures that have extended life periods. Sea turtles can live over 100, and some creatures, such as the Greenland shark, can live over 400 years. If there were a species of sea creature on the scale of a titan, it might live for tens of thousands of years and hibernate for thousands of years at a time, only to be awakened by changes in temperature and melting of ice caps, or great earthquakes. In fact, we do find stories of creatures exactly as described in mythologies around the world. In Norse mythology, there's a great serpent encircling the depths of the earth, lying dormant, known as Jormungandr, one of the terrible monstrous sons of the trickster god Loki. The sea serpent is said to wrap its body around the entire ocean, like the Ouroboros symbol that is found all over the world in almost every single ancient culture. This creature is lying dormant until it's awakened at the end of days, known as Ragnarok in the Norse tradition. It's said that at the end of the world, Jormungandr will emerge from the depths of the sea and engage in a fierce battle with the thunder god Thor. This confrontation between Thor and the Midgard serpent is the central event of Ragnarok, and is foretold to result in both of their deaths. Thor will manage to slay the serpent with his powerful hammer, but not before Jormungandr fatally poisons him with his venom. The death of this great sea serpent, along with other cataclysmic events, marks the end of the current world, leading to the destruction and subsequent rebirth of a new world in Norse mythology. And we have the same type of narrative about a terrible creature awakening coming from the sea in the Bible. Revelation 13 says the following: I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power. And in Isaiah 27 it says, In that day the Lord with his sore and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea,